What is going on, YouTube? It's your boy Spanko, and I'm back. Sorry, it's been a while. I'm in school and university, and I have midterms and all that stuff going on, so I don't have a lot of time, which kind of sucks to play Yu-Gi-Oh! But I am back with the Time Thief deck profile now. So many hours went into work for this deck because it's fun, it's good, but I just try to make it the best possible. And I've seen deck profiles. I tried to originally I net decked 3 different profiles, and I tried it and I tested it for myself, and I'm like, these are really bad. Like, they have one combo that works, but it's really bad otherwise. So I try to make it as consistent as possible, and basically making a combo. Like, there's a combo where it's a 1-card combo where you literally finish on the Azathoth on top of one of these guys, plus a Bardiche over here with a Fog Blade set. And that, if you ask me, that's pretty strong, right? Because if you do that, you kind of have multiple negates for that turn, and your opponent can't really do much. So that's basically the 1-card combo, which I will actually show at the end of the video. If you guys want to see more combos, I guess you can just like the video and tell me if you guys want to see more combos with this deck. But that, I'll show you literally a 1-card combo where all you need to do is open Orpheus Scorpio, and then you have that. So anyways, let's get into the profile. 40-card main deck. I'm not going to be showing you guys a side deck because that's honestly just whatever you want to play in the side deck. This is just, a way to play the Time Thief archetype as a main deck. So you are going to play 3 of the Regulator, which is the best one. This one is basically the rescue cat for the deck, which is obviously amazing. But then you are only playing 2 Winder and 2 Bezel Ships. Now, the reason for you only playing 2 and 2 instead of 3 and 3 is a lot of people play 3 and 3. But the issue with it is you open them or you have them in your hand and they don't really do much. This is the only one that really does anything for you. It's probably the best normal summon in the deck outside of Scorpio. These ones are kind of suckish. So the reason you play 2 and 2 is so that when you open it, or if you open this, and even if you open one of each of these, you can still resolve this, which is obviously really, really good. But you only play 2 and 2. Their effects aren't the best, and honestly, you want to win turn 2 anyways. You want to go turn 1, make your board, stop your opponent, and then just beat him turn 2. So these don't really help you do that. So which is why you just kind of don't want to play them. This is okay if you open it, but for the most part, you don't really want to put yourself in a position where you open too many of these and it sucks. So that's it for that. So then you're playing a little rank 4 spam engine, which is your 3 Kage Tokages. Now, I saw a lot of people playing Goblin Birds instead, and I liked that at first, but I stopped liking it because when I was testing, I would use my normal summon on Goblinberg. First of all, this only goes off. So the Regulator only goes off if you control no other monsters, so Goblinberg kind of sucks there. On top of that, the reason Kage Tokage is better is because you don't waste your normal on this. You could be normal summoning a monster and then getting this, and then so even if they stop the normal summon, or let's say the effect of for example, if they stop the effect of Goblinberg, in this case they can't stop the Kage Tokage from hand, right? So this is a much better in my opinion. And then you are playing a little plant engine, which is the 3 Orpheus Scorpio and then 1 Darlingtonian Cobra. Now, you could be playing a 3 Lone Fire Blossom as well, but the issue with that, in my opinion, is Lone Fire is very susceptible to hand traps, which kind of sucks. If you have a Lone Fire, for example, and it gets ashed or whatever, you kind of just lose, right? So you don't want that to happen. So you just play 3 and 1. And so instead, I decided to play a little dark engine, which is the 1 Dark Grepher and the 3 Destrudo. So the reason I decided to play this instead of the Lone Fires and whatnot is because if you're playing this engine, if you end up opening the Grepher with a Destrudo, first of all, that opens up a play for later on where I'll show you. You can end with the same board, but with a Dawn Dragster, which is obviously really good. But even if you don't open the Dark Grepher and you just open Destrudo later on again does the same thing. You'll have to pay your life points, which kind of sucks, but you'll end up summoning it to make the Dawn Dragster at the end with the combo. So that's really, really good, but that becomes, again, a 2-card combo because now you'll need the Destrudo, whereas otherwise it'd be just a 1-card combo because you just need the Orpheus Scorpio. And then you're playing a little Perform Mage engine where you're playing Juggler, Hat Tricker, or Trick Clown, and then you're playing triple Hat Tricker. Now, the reason you're playing triple Hat Tricker, I know a lot of people like to play 1, 1, and 1. The reason you're playing 3 here is because his special summon effect is not once per turn, and you only need 2 monsters on the field to special summon him. So theoretically, if you guys Brick and you open Regulator, then you can Regulator summon 2 more, and then let's say you open 2 of these, you can automatically special summon 2 of these guys on board, which is really, really good, right? So that's why I really like 3 of these, and that's the little Perform Mage engine right here, boom, 5 cards. And then just to round off the monsters, you are playing 1 Boots and 1 Garnet again for the Brilliant Fusion, and it kind of sucks because I hate the Brilliant Fusion. I have such a love-hate with the Brilliant Fusion. The Silent Boots is, you can play more PKs. I tried more, kind of suckish though. This is just really good because you'll end up sending him with Bardiche to set your quick play and then banishing it for Fogblade, and then you're going to end on a Fogblade plus a Bardiche and an Azathoth. It's really, really good. So that's why you just need the one. You don't really want to draw him because as soon as you draw him, he sucks. So you don't want to draw him. But then if you play too many, then you'll draw into them, and even though the Bardiche play is technically still available, if you just brick with them, it kind of sucks. So just that for the Garnet. That's it for the monster count. It's a little bit heavy, but everything is pretty much mandatory, and it gets all the combos off and running really quickly and smoothly. Okay, so then for the spell cards, you're playing triple Allure of Darkness because basically everything is dark in the deck, and honestly, as soon as you resolve one of these, like you can just draw into the card that you need, and it's amazing. Also, if you brick with let's say you do end up opening a like a Cobra, and this does absolutely nothing in your hand, Allure of Darkness is just there to fix that, right? So Allure of Darkness is always really, really good. You're playing double Instant Fusion and one Brilliant Fusion. Again, so you're always going to be searching the Brilliant Fusion unless you open, of course. And if you have the opportunity, you search the Brilliant Fusion because that's the one card combo. If you do open it, Instant Fusion is actually really good because you play a couple Instant Fusion targets that help you essentially just continue your plays a little bit further. So that's that for that. You're also playing 3 Call by the Graves because you need to not lose to hand traps. Even though hand traps aren't as like important as they were in this format, weirdly enough, but you still need to play the 3 called. Then you're playing obviously one of these because this makes your Azathoth. You're also playing the 1 Reinforcements of the Army because it does get you to Dark Grepher, and it's just a way to get to it. Essentially, that's the only reason you really play it. I play 1 Monster Reborn, 1 Foolish Burial, just 2 cards that are extenders in a sense. If Foolishing and hitting the Strudo is really, really good. You can also send a Bezel Ship off of it, which is also really strong. And then you're just ending off 2 traps. You're playing the Fogblade and the Brigadine. Now, the Brigadine is really good if you open it. You never really need to search it because if you usually have the play and you can just search the Fogblade. But the Brigadine, again, is just really, really good because if you do open it, or if you're like 1 piece short or something short, then you can actually just search the Brigadine to summon it and make your play and your board viable. So that's it for the main deck. That's a 40-card main deck. So off to the extra deck, you are playing double Redoer. Now, I know some people play 3. Zero reason to play 3. You make 2, and you never even make 2 most of the time, but you play 2 just in case there's a couple plays where once in a while you'll actually make the second one, but otherwise, no, 2 is more than enough. And then obviously you're playing the Azathoth because you make this into Azathoth. 1 Dark Rebellion, because Dark Rebellion is actually really, really good going like after your turn 1 board. If you can just make Dark Rebellion, if they have just a monster, you can just boost it, of course, and then like go for OTK. And if not, let's say like you can't make the Redoer, I don't know what happens, you can actually summon, like going second, you can summon Dark Rebellion, use both materials to suck up their monster, and let's say you end up opening the quick play, you can actually just rank this up into Azathoth as well. And you can theoretically play Dark Requiem. I don't have one, so I'm not playing one, but yeah, you should also, I guess you could also play with 1 Dark Requiem to make it like, you know, that play available. Play 1 Tornado Dragon. Tornado Dragon is really, really good. Rank 4 spam. 1 Dweller, again, really, really good. And then 1 Baguska. This is just if you like really, really hard brick, which you don't really often, but if you really, really hard brick and you need to make a monster, you just make Baguska. Then for like monsters, you're just playing the 1 Phantomized Rusty Bardiche, 1 Wee Witch's Apprentice, and 1 Underclock Taker. These are to make your Bardiche. Usually I just use Wee Witch, but there's times where you just make Underclock because later, like turn 2 or whatever, you'll make Wee Witch to boost your Azathoth and your Bardiche and just help go for OTK. Then the 1 card I do play is Topological Bomber. Now, I did want to make this, and I'll probably say it in the title, I did want to make this a budget video and a budget deck profile, because for the most part, it is budget. Like, nothing in here is actually very expensive. This is, I guess you could say, the most expensive card in the deck. Of course, you don't need an ultimate rare Dark Rebellion, right? You don't need, like, the higher rarity stuff, but this is the most expensive card. Theoretically, this could also be your Dark Requiem if you don't have one of these. Dark Requiem is pretty cheap, so if you don't have this, you don't have this. You don't actually really need it. Then I am playing, like I told you, Dawn Dragster, and with the power of editing, I am going to have a Dawn Dragster in 3, 2, boom, Dawn Dragster right there. So the reason you are playing 1 Dawn Dragster is because you can actually make it with the Strudo later on, and you can. I'll show you guys the combo where, let's say you do open the Strudo, it's kind of gimmicky, but if you do end up opening the Strudo, you can finish with the Dawn Dragster as well, and it just gives you another form of negation. And then you're also playing 1000 Eyes Restrict, 1 Carbonala Warrior, as well as 1 Seraphinite. Seraphinite, obviously, for the Brilliant. The reason you're playing the Carbonala Warrior and the 1000 Eyes is so Carbonala Warrior is level 4, so if you need to Instant Fusion for level 4, Carbonala Warrior is your go-to. But then sometimes I found it that you needed to Instant Fusion and you actually needed a Dark Monster to help you get into Bardiche. So what I would do is this kind of sucks because he's an earth. So I used like a level 3 guy, I think Ghost Zombie or something like that. But then I realized going second, that kind of suck, like hurts. It doesn't suck per se, but it hurts going second sometimes. So what I did was I decided to play Thousand Eyes Restrict, and now this functions as two things. One, going second, you can actually just steal an opponent's monster. He's also a dark. But then also going first, you can use him as a dark to go into Bardiche. So that's it for the 15 card extra deck. And again, like I said, if you guys don't want to play Topological and you want to play Dark Requiem, you can of course do that as well. And I'm going to go on into the combo now. Okay, so I'm going to show you guys the quick combo that I was talking about, where you basically need one card and a discard outlet. So you need the Orpheus Scorpio and any discard outlet. For the sake of this, I'm going to show you Destrudo just because I'm going to show you how strong it is if you do open the Destrudo with this. It actually becomes really, really strong. So I'm just going to show you it with Destrudo, and then you need any normal summonable dark monster. And so you can actually have any one of these cards, and of course you play multiples of all of these, except for Greffer, of course. You can open any one of these cards, and it will still make you the same board. Doesn't really matter. So for the sake of this video, we'll open Winder. If you theoretically, I'm just going to tell you guys, if you theoretically open the Greffer and don't open Destrudo, you can do the same thing, because you're going to end up having Greffer to dump the Destrudo, and then once you do that, then you'll get the same thing essentially, right? But so for the sake of this video, we'll just use Winder just because it's a Time Thief deck profile, and we might as well show you how the Time Thieves work. So what we're going to do is we're going to normal summon our Orpheus Scorpio. I'm going to put the hand right over here. I'm going to summon Orpheus Scorpio and activate its effects, pitching our Destrudo. So our Destrudo is going to go to the graveyard, and we are going to summon our Cobra from deck. Cool. So once Cobra is summoned, Cobra is going to activate its effect to search your Brilliant Fusion. Now, keep in mind, we're going to have two cards in hand, just randomly. So I'm just going to use two Call by the Grave, for example. So here we'll have these two like this. So you'll actually still have 3 cards in your hand. And if they do have a hand trap and you do open one of the Call by the Graves, the reason you play 3 is so that you don't get hand trapped. So there's your hand. So you're going to open the Brilliant Fusion, and you're going to put Brilliant Fusion in your hand. Then what you're going to do is you are going to link these two away to make the Wee Witch. You could also theoretically make Underclock Taker. It does not really matter which one you make, but for the sake of the video, we'll make the Wee Witch. But you need to know that later on, when you go from Wee Witch or Underclock into Bardiche, you're going to have to make it in the other zone. And that's actually important because it needs to be opposite from Seraphinite. But anyways, so for the sake of the video, we'll use Wee Witch. And then we'll use Brilliant Fusion. So Brilliant Fusion is going to end up sending us our Garnet. Now we have a couple options. You can send Damage Juggler, which will banish itself to search out a Hat Tricker. Or you can just send Trick Clown, which will you'll pay life points to get it back, right? So regardless, it does not really matter. In a sense, sometimes like Trick Clown is better because later on in the game, having the Hat Tricker drawing into a Hat Tricker is a lot better than drawing into a Trick Clown, right? So we're just gonna send Trick Clown for this video. So we're just send Trick Clown. Trick Clown is gonna special summon itself, and then first of all, Seraphinite is going to be summoned. And then Trick Clown will summon, so you pay 1,000 life points, Trick Clown will summon itself. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to use the extra normal summon to summon up that Winder that you still had in your hand, right? Then you're going to use the Wee Witch and the Winder to make your Bardiche. And you're going to make Bardiche in the other zone. And the reason you're going to make Bardiche in the other zone is because you want, theoretically, you want both open, right? So that's that, right? And then Bardiche, you're going to activate its effect. And you're going to send Boots to the graveyard. You're going to send Boots. Set the rank up magic launch. Cool? So you're going to set this. So now this is on your field. Then what you're going to do is you're going to banish the Boots from your graveyard. You're going to banish it. So I'll put the banish pile like over here or whatever. Banish Boots. And you're going to search Brigandine. Now, if you had an extender, for example, a Kage to Kage, or a Monster Reborn, or if you opened a Hat Tricker, then what you could do is instead of searching Brigandine, you could search a Fogblade and then set the Fogblade. But in this case, you'll need the other 4, so you'll search Brigandine, right? So we'll set Brigandine and then activate Brigandine because you can activate it, summon it. Then you're going to make these 2 and use these 2 as for your Redoer. So you're going to use Redoer's effect. Where is Redoer? Redoer. Okay? That's there. So the reason, again, like I said, you need the Bardiche in the other zone. You don't really need to, but it's just nicer to have it there. So then you're going to activate the Redoer effect where you can detach both cards to banish himself, and you actually need to do that because for the rank up it has to have no material. So you're gonna do that, banish himself for the turn, I guess. But then you still have the Destrudo that you pitched, right? And this is where the Destrudo becomes really good. You can target Seraphinite with Destrudo and special summon it, and then now you have a 7. So now with these 2, you can make the Dawn Dragster that I am going to edit in 3, 2, boom, Dawn Dragster. So you're gonna have Dawn Dragster right there. And then once you have Don Dragster right there, what you're going to do is at the end, you're going to just end your turn. And then on the end phase, this is going to come back. And you can pick what zone it comes back to, but it doesn't really matter because at the end of the day, it's going to come here. And then you also have 2 cards. Keep in mind, you still have 2 cards in your hand at this point, right? So these 2 cards could have been called, could have been extenders, whatever you want, right? So these could be there. And then on your opponent's turn, as soon as they go into their main phase, they have to do something. So I'm just going to switch the camera angle right here a little bit so you guys can see the board a little bit better. So once you do this on your opponent's main phase, you're going to activate this and target your redoer. And then so what's going to happen is you're going to make Azathoth. Right? So where's Azathoth? Azathoth's right here. You make Azathoth and this comes down as a material. So you make Azathoth here. And then once you make Azathoth, this is your end board. So you're going to have a monster negate for the rest of the turn. Like, not a monster negate. The opponent can't activate monster effects. You're going to have the spell trap negate. That's if you open the Destrudo. If you open any other extenders, keep in mind, you can make like a Baguska, which actually would not be, that would be pretty bad. But you can make a first turn Dweller. You can make whatever, Tornado Dragon first turn, doesn't matter. But if you open the Destrudo again, you can make the Don Dragster. And then this is your board right here. And then your opponent has to play through this, which is actually very difficult for them to play through. And then what happens is next turn, when you draw whatever, again, you have 2 more cards in your hand, assuming that they're not hand traps. Next turn, you'll just end up OTKing because you'll have this. If you open another monster or whatever the case is, boom, 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 you'll OTK your opponent. So that's it for the combo video. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the combo. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. It is a fun deck. It's a very consistent deck as well, actually, funny enough. It's a very consistent deck. Unfortunately, the issue is after turn 1, when they make the board, if your opponent somehow outs it, you're kind of like you don't have much backup, which kind of sucks with this deck. But you know, that turn 1 board is actually very, very strong. And again, if you open extenders, you can actually make the board even better than what it looked like right there. So if you guys enjoyed the video, please make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. And then on top of that, keep in mind, this is a budget version, budget friendly. If you guys have better cards like Boral Sword, if you have Boral Sword, Boral Load, anything like that, you can obviously include it. And with that, Spanko signing out. Peace.